Part 29. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 281. The dean's eyes were a little complicated. After a moment of silence, he smiled, "It's my luck to have a student like you." He patted Nan Yan's hand again, his eyes full of relief. "Go to class." Nan Yan looked at him. She was sure that he didn't mean to say anything, so she could only nod. He didn't want to say it, and she couldn't force him to say it. Then she would check it herself. Nan Yan didn't go back to the class, but went to the computer classroom. Zhang Xianling gave her the privilege to use any computer in the computer classroom at any time. She found a classroom where there was no class, and after entering, she turned on a computer and hacked into the school's firewall. She had reinforced the school's firewall once before, and it was already her work, so it was easy to enter the school's core system. She quickly tapped the keyboard with both hands, edited a new program on it, and then directly followed the network cable to find the computer in the principal's office and implanted it. The small program she just made can automatically monitor the area where the principal's computer is located. Then send the collected voice and images to her mobile phone on time. It took more than 10 minutes to finish all this. She turned off the computer, took her mobile phone, and went back to the classroom for class. Hashtag. In the evening, Qin Lu came to pick her up. After getting in the car, she just buckled her seat belt and heard the man next to her say in a low and gorgeous voice, "Yan Yan, Grandma misses you and wants you to have dinner with her." Nan Yan was stunned and asked subconsciously, "Now?" Qin Lu raised his hand and pinched his eyebrows. The old lady is also amazing. The second time, she ran to Jinjinj secretly. If the housekeeper hadn't told him, he estimated that the old lady might not even say a word to him and would come directly to Nan Yan. He took her back to the hotel, and she kept giving him a cold look all the way, and was indifferent, as if he was the one who did something wrong, not her. Grandma came to Jinjinj. She arrived an hour earlier than you got out of school. Nan Yan turned her head and asked more clearly, "Grandma wants to eat the food I cook, or does she want to eat with me?" "She wants you to eat with her." "Oh, okay, then go back to the hotel directly." "I'll call Grandpa and tell him that I won't go back for dinner today." "Yeah." Nan Yan called Grandpa and told him that Qin Lu's grandma came and wanted to eat with her. Grandpa said directly, "Then let Alu and his grandma come to our house to eat together, it will be lively." Mainly, Grandpa also wanted to see the attitude of Qin Lu's family towards Nan Yan. Before, he only heard Qin Lu say that their old lady liked Yan Yan very much, but that was just hearsay. In fact, he still had to meet her to know. Nan Yan thought for a moment, "Then I'll ask the old lady if she wants to go." "Okay, Yan Yan, remember to tell Grandpa after you ask, so that Grandpa can ask the kitchen to prepare more dishes." Nan Yan responded, hung up the phone, and said to Qin Lu, "My grandpa wants your grandma to eat at home." Qin Lu chuckled, "Brother has no objection, why don't you call the old lady in person and ask her what she thinks?" "Okay." Nan Yan found the number of Ms Jean in the contacts and called her. It rang twice and was connected. "Yan Yan, guess where Grandma is?" Ms Jean's smiling voice came over impatiently as soon as the call was connected. "I guess in Jinjinj." Nan Yan smiled, "Grandma, are you trying to give me a surprise?" "Yeah, Yan Yan, Grandma misses you so much." "It's all because of that stinky boy. He didn't bring you to see Grandma. I have no choice but to come and see you." "Grandma, my grandpa wants to invite you to dinner." "Are you going?" Nan Yan paused, and then said, "If you don't want to go, it's okay. I'll go out with you." "Of course I'll go." "Of course I'll go," old lady Qin said hurriedly. "Yan Yan, tell your grandpa that Grandma really wants to go." She was eager to contact her in-laws in advance to build up her relationship. Now that the opportunity is in front of her, she may not go. Okay, then my brother and I will pick you up. Yeah, grandma is waiting for you. Old lady Qin's tail tone is long, which is very cute. After telling Grandpa In that old lady Qin was going to the old house, Grandpa In quickly asked Qin Ye to notify the kitchen to add more dishes. Then he looked at the clothes he was wearing and felt that they were not very formal. At least he had to meet the old lady of the Qin family, so he had to be formal. At that moment, he went upstairs and found a very formal outfit to change into. Hashtag Lantis Hotel. Old lady Qin had been sitting in the lobby with eager eyes, looking at the door from time to time. She hadn't seen Yan for almost a month, and she missed her very much. Although they had phone calls and video chats, that couldn't replace a real meeting. Grandma, please wait for a while, don't worry, Yan and Big Brother will be here soon, please be steady. Qin Shia bravely advised the old lady. To be honest, this was the first time Qin Shia had seen her so anxious since she was a child. It was really different from usual. But this kind of grandma was not majestic or scary, but a little cute. Compared with the grandma at home, she liked the grandma now more. Old lady Qin muttered, why not? I can't wait to see Yan now. Yan, that girl, doesn't miss me at all. Why don't you go to the capital to see me, hum? Qin Shiu. Okay, she's still being arrogant. Qin Shiu saw that she couldn't persuade her, so she didn't persuade her anymore. She just sat aside secretly and took pictures of old Madame Qin carefully. Anyway, she felt that she was less afraid of her grandmother after seeing her grandmother like this. In the past, she would never dare to do such a thing. After taking a few pictures secretly, the black Rolls-Royce stopped at the door of the hotel. Old Madame Qin had sharp eyes and recognized that it was Qin Lu's car. She stood up and walked outside. Qin Shia was afraid that she would fall if she walked too fast, so she quickly put away her phone and followed her to help her. Nan Yan waited for Qin Lu to stop and get out of the car, and old Madame Qin walked to the door. Yan. Nan Yan saw her and strode over, Grandma, please walk slowly. After reaching out to support old Madame Qin, she greeted Qin Shia again. Then he said, let's get in the car and go to the old house. Yeah. Ms. Qin was reluctant to let go of Nan Yan's hand, holding her tightly, as if she was afraid that she would run away if she let go. Hashtag The Old House. Mr. N was wearing an iron gray suit, a bow tie at his collar, and a gentleman's hat. He stood at the door with a cane in high spirits. Like a door god. Tian Yi tried to persuade him several times to go back to the sofa and wait, but he couldn't persuade him at all. Xiao Tian, am I too formal in this outfit? Mr. N frowned and began to question his outfit again. Tian Yi, this is good, old man. How about I change into another outfit? Tian Yi. Old man, the eldest lady and the others are here. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 282. The black Rolls-Royce slowly drove into the manor. Mr. N, who wanted to change clothes, had to give up. Ms. Qin got out of the car with the help of Nan Yan and Qin Shiu. Then Ms. Qin pushed Qin Shiu's hand away coldly and let Nan Yan support her. Qin Shiu. Who is the granddaughter of the old lady? This partiality is too blatant. And Yan hasn't married the eldest brother yet. However, Qin Shiu only dared to complain in her heart and didn't dare to show it on the surface. Mr. N smiled as he watched the few people approaching and greeted Ms. Qin in an official tone. Ms. Qin, nice to meet you. Yan often mentioned you to me before, and now I finally see you in person. Really? Ms. Qin hurried forward, held Mr. N's hand, and asked with a smile, what did our Yan say about me? Mr. N smiled and said, she said you are kind and treat her very well. I feel close to you when I am with you. Nan Yan. How could she not remember her saying this? Of course, she did mention Mrs. Qin to Mr. N. When Qin Lu came to the old house at the beginning, the old man had a lot of opinions about Qin Lu, just because of family reasons. It was only later that he knew that Mrs. Qin liked her and that his family did not object that he stopping Qin Lu from approaching her. The two old men, who were about 150 to 60 years old in total, complimented each other for a few words before sitting in the living room. Then, they started the business mode of mutual praise. But the one they praised was the children of the other family. Mr. N praised Qin Lu, and Mrs. Qin praised Nan Yan. The words were so exaggerated that the two parties were expressionless. Too awkward. Although both of them are indeed excellent, it is awkward to be said like this. Brother-in, you look so energetic in this outfit, you can't tell your age at all. Haha, Sister Qin is well maintained, she looks only in her early 50s, she doesn't look old. After praising each other's children for being excellent, the two old people praised each other's appearance. No matter how old you are, being praised for looking younger than your actual age will make people happy. Sister Qin, how many days do you plan to stay in Jinqing? Or come to live in the old house? There are many people at home, it's lively, isn't it much better than staying in a hotel? Will it be too much trouble for brother-in? Madame Qin was very tempted, and glanced at Qin Lu, as if she was going to stay. Of course not at all. Just live here, it's convenient, and you can let Yan accompany you more. Grandpa An quickly told Qin Ye to ask the servants to clean up the room. Nan Yan and Qin Lu looked at each other, and could not express any opinions on the arrangements made by the two elders. They could only let them go. Even Qin Xia was left to stay tonight. Qin Lu. So, he is the only one who has no privileges. After arranging the accommodation for old lady Qin and Qin Xiu, the kitchen notified that dinner could be served. Zhang Nai had just finished her homework and went downstairs. Qin Xiu was captured by her cute appearance, and the two immediately added each other as friends. Hey, why are there so many people today? Am I here at the wrong time? Shen Junqing also came to eat. Nan Yan felt that looking at the group of people in the living room, she couldn't help but hold her forehead. It's good, everyone is here, and it's lively. The kid from the Shen family, there's no such thing as a bad time. Anyway, there are many dishes cooked in the kitchen, so it's just a matter of adding a pair of chopsticks. Old Master An had a good impression of Shen Junqing. After all, Shen Junqing has always been good at coaxing people and likable. Although he is a well-known playboy outside and is despised by many people, Mr. An is a shrewd person who doesn't just look at the surface. In addition, Anziran once told him that Shen Junqing helped his team, so he had a better impression of him. After Shen Junqing greeted Mr. An, he rubbed against Nan Yan and leaned against the wall beside her in a casual and unrestrained manner. Obviously, his peach blossom eyes were charming without knowing it, but he revealed a bit of pitiful look. Yan, you have been ignoring the third brother recently. Is it because the third brother made you unhappy? No, Nan Yan looked at him helplessly. I'm a little busy recently, so I don't have much time. During this period, Shen Junqing asked her out several times, either to ask her to go racing or to find her to go to the casino. She was really busy, and all kinds of tedious things made her not as free as before. Another thing is that Qin Lu is watching her. Before she got the position, she already occupied it firmly. Shen Junqing didn't believe that she was so busy that she couldn't spare any time. She secretly glared at Qin Lu and snorted, "Is it that the dog man who doesn't allow you to get too close to me?" Nan Yan rubbed her eyebrows, "See through but don't say it. I'm really busy these days, third brother, wait until I'm done." "Okay, third brother won't make things difficult for you." Shen Junqing stretched out his hand and rubbed her head. "If that dog man bullies you, just tell third brother will help you teach him a lesson." Old Lady Qin looked at the interaction between Shen Junqing and Nan Yan and bumped Qin Lu's arm with her elbow. "Alu, who is that man?" The old lady's words were full of a sense of crisis. After all, judging from the appearance alone, Shen Junqing is no worse than Qin Lu in terms of appearance or temperament. Looking at Nan Yan's attitude towards him, he was also very intimate. "I can't help it, the old lady isn't nervous. The eldest grandson has been chasing someone for so long, but Yanyan hasn't agreed. Now another man appears and comes to visit openly. Mr. N has a good impression of him, so she can't help but think about it. That's the third brother Yanyan recognizes." Qin Lu paused, as if he remembered something, and added, "He's not bad. Then does he like cigarettes?" Although the words were questions, the tone was to state facts. The old lady has a sharp eye. No matter how deeply Shen Junqing hides her feelings, she can't escape her eyes. "Probably," Qin Lu said lightly. He is also a man, so he can naturally tell that Shen Junqing has thoughts about Nan Yan. Otherwise, he would not have kept Nan Yan from getting too close to him. "That's right." Mrs. Qin's tone suddenly became lower and sharper. "Aren't you afraid that Yanyan will be snatched away?" Mrs. Qin said with a straight face and ruthlessly, "I'm telling you, if you can't catch Yan Yan, then you don't have to go back." Qin Lu raised his hand and gently pressed her shoulder, whispering slowly, "She can only be your granddaughter-in-law. He would never let anyone take Nan Yan away from him. Whoever touches the woman he identifies will die." There was a hint of anger in Qin Lu's eyes. Then it quickly disappeared. As for Shen Junqing, he knew that he would not do anything to hurt Nan Yan or embarrass Nan Yan. He is not considered his competitor at all. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 283. After a small episode, the atmosphere relaxed. The dinner was pleasant. Compared with the cold and reserved Qin Lu, Shen Junqing's conversation and his unrestrained but not annoying temperament made him more likely to become the focus of everyone and make people feel good about him. Old Madame Qin was cold to him because he might be a potential competitor of her eldest grandson. But after a meal, Qin Shiu and Shen Junqing had a good chat. They also added each other as WeChat friends. When Nan Yan went to see Shen Junqing and Qin Lu off, old Madame Qin called Qin Shiu to her. "Shiu, do you have a crush on Shen Junqing?" Qin Shiu's face turned red. "Grandma, what are you talking about? I just met Mr. Shen for the first time, and we just get along well. That means I don't hate him anymore." Mrs. Qin said earnestly. "Shiu, young people should get in touch with people of the same age. You don't even have a friend of the opposite sex around you. Your eldest brother also said that Shen Junqing is not bad. You can talk to him more in the future." Qin Shiu. Qin Shiu's face was full of question marks. Then, as if she thought of something, she said in disbelief, "Grandma, tell me the truth, is it because you think Yanyan has a good relationship with Mr. Shen, and you are afraid that he will become an obstacle for your eldest brother to pursue Yanyan, so you deliberately push your granddaughter out?" Mrs. Qin. Ahem. She did think so. But she didn't necessarily want Qin Shiu and Shen Junqing to develop into Qin Lu. Young people, making more friends is a good thing. It would be even better if Shen Junqing could divert his attention from Nan Yan. But she couldn't admit this. "What are you thinking about?" Old Madame Qin glared at her. "I just suggested that you make more friends with people of your age. You can make your own decisions about feelings." Old Madame Qin has always been laissez-faire when it comes to the feelings of her children and grandchildren. As long as the person she chooses is presentable and she likes him, she doesn't care about whether they are well matched. Because with the foundation of the Qin family, there is no need to use marriage to win over other families. Qin Ye bit her lip and asked tentatively, Grandma, if I really plan to have a relationship with young Master Shen, will you stop me? Old Madam Qin, it's just a relationship, not a marriage, why should I stop it? Qin Ye. Well, she understood that her old lady's mind was to let her solve the obstacles of her eldest brother. After all, she is still a tool. But Qin Ye thinks that Shen Junqing is indeed a very interesting man. Then give it a try. Hashtag. Because Mrs. Qin moved into the old house, Nan Yan went home earlier after school every day. And every time, Qin Lu would pick her up, and then they would go back to the old house together. After having dinner at the old house, he would go back to the hotel alone. Shen Junqing seemed to deliberately make things difficult for Qin Lu. From that day on, he would come to eat on time every night. After a while, Shen Junqing and Qin Ye had more contact, and the topics they talked about became more casual. That day, Nan Yan sent Qin Lu and Shen Junqing out of the old house as usual. Qin Lu went ahead, and after Shen Junqing drove out, he stopped beside Nan Yan and lowered the glass window. Nan Yan knew he had something to say, so she walked over to him. Shen Junqing lazily supported his arms, with indignant sarcasm in his eyes. Sister, Qin Lu, that dog man, is too sinister. Nan Yan didn't quite understand what Shen Junqing meant by the sentence. Nothing. Third brother just wants to tell you that Qin Lu is too shameless. In order to get him to take his eyes off Nan Yan, he even used his own sister. How shameless. The means are also dirty enough. Nan Yan. She also knew that Qin De Lao was quite shameless, but why did she feel that Shen Junqing's words seemed to have other meanings? Third brother, you seem to have a big opinion on him. Humph, that's right, from the beginning, I didn't like him. Nan Yan was speechless. Since they have big opinions, they can still become partners, which is also quite interesting. Remember what you promised third brother, when you are done, we have to go out and have fun. Nan Yan nodded expressionlessly, yeah. Then she suppressed her emotions and asked, third brother, have you been too idle these 2 days? Come here every day to eat and compete with Qin Lu. It feels like Xiang is full and bored. Shen Junqing rolled his eyes proudly, what are you talking about? It's because you don't have time, so the third brother can only come to you. But the third brother has something to do tomorrow, so he probably won't have time to come. Oh. Tomorrow is Saturday. It just so happens that she is going to the imperial capital as well. Old Madam Qin and Qin Ye will go back with her. If they don't go back, the Qin family will probably go crazy again. After saying what he had to say, Shen Junqing waved to Nan Yan, stepped on the accelerator, and drove away from the old house. Nan Yan watched the car drive away before turning back to find old Madam Qin and the others. Hashtag. After Shen Junqing left the old house, he saw the black Rolls-Royce parked on the side of the road and sneered sarcastically. He guessed it, this bastard is waiting for him here. After driving past, he stopped the car and opened the door to get out. Mr. Qin, are you waiting for me on purpose? Shen Junqing had a faint smile on his face, and his cynical attitude was naturally a kind of romantic. His hands were nonchalantly supporting the car behind Qin Lu. From a distance, he looked like he was driving Qin Lu. But in fact, the two people are not face to face. There is a distance of at least 20 centimeters between them. Qin Lu slowly exhaled a mouthful of blue-white smoke, then threw the smoke from his fingertips to the ground and crushed it out. Then he leaned forward and took out a bound document from the car. These are for you. What? Shen Junqing took it and opened it to read. Under the streetlight, he could see clearly what was on those documents. The careless smile on his face gradually disappeared. Why are you giving me this? Shen Junqing looked at Qin Lu seriously and solemnly. For Yanyan's sake, I'm going to sell you a favor. Qin Lu's handsome face showed a layer of coldness. I'll give you a 20% discount based on the market price. Remember to pay. Okay, I'll call you in a moment. Chen Junqing happily accepted his conditions. He packed the documents and smiled lightly. Anyway, thank you this time. For the sake of your hard work in helping me, I won't tell Yanyan that you are shameless next time. Qin Lu's originally indifferent expression suddenly darkened, and he reached out to grab it. Give me the thing back. She actually told Yanyan that she was shameless and slandered his image. Shen Junqing was faster and dodged with the document in hand. After taking a step back, he raised the thing in his hand and said, "Give it to me, it's mine. Mr. Qin, next time we meet, I'll treat you to dinner as a thank you." Roll. Qin Lu gave him a cold word, then got in the car and slammed the door, giving Shen Junqing a puff of car exhaust. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 284. Imperial Capital. After the plane landed, Nan Yan and Yun Jingshan were going to the National Laboratory. Old Madame Qin knew that she was going to do something serious, so she asked her to go to Qin's house to find her after she was done. After agreeing to old Madame Qin, Nan Yan and Yun Jingshan took a car and came to the National Laboratory. After changing into the clothes that they would wear for the experiment in Yun Jingshan's office, Yun Jingshan reminded, "Dr. Nan, you will go in as my assistant later. I will provide you with some alone time. If there is any abnormality, I will notify you in advance." Okay, Nan Yan nodded, then pinched her eyebrows. "Let's go, don't waste time." As she said, she picked up all the raw materials needed to configure T-2 and motioned Yun Jingshan to go ahead. Yun Jingshan looked at Nan Yan, who had already entered the role, and quickly responded, striding in front to lead the way. The rules in the National Laboratory are strict, and outsiders are strictly prohibited from entering. Even assistants can only enter with their ID cards. The ID card that Nan Yan is wearing on her clothes now belongs to one of Professor Yun's apprentices. Yun Jingshan asked for it at the time, and he gave it to her without saying anything. "Professor Yun, come and do the experiment." The laboratory members who met on the way greeted Yun Jingshan with a smile. Yun Jingshan nodded and said lightly, "Well, there is a small experiment that is more urgent and needs to be done first." Oh, the other party smiled and asked again, "Is Professor Yun's health better?" "Better than before, but not too good. We can only try to make her suffer less pain in her last days." "Professor Yun, don't be too sad. Everyone will grow old, get sick, and die. Just do your best." Well, Yun Jingshan responded, and he didn't want to talk to him anymore. "I still have to do experiments. After the experiments, I have to rush back to Jinqing, so I won't talk much." After all, he brought Nan Yan, an outsider, with him. Even if he was fully armed and only showed a pair of eyes, with his identity, he didn't need to take over 2 detailed inspections. He just swiped his ID card. But if his identity is exposed, it will bring a lot of trouble. Well, why does Xiaoqi look depressed today? Is she also worried about Professor Yun? Nan Yan. This person is really talkative. But if she didn't respond, it would be easier to reveal her flaws. At that moment, she lowered her head slightly, nodded again, and said in a low voice, "Yes." Alas, things are so unpredictable. Who could have known that Professor Yun, such a good person, would suffer so much in his later years? The man sighed and shook his head. He wanted to say something else, but Yun Jingshan grabbed Nan Yan's arm and said coldly, "Excuse me," and walked straight over. "Huh, how did I find that Xiaoqi has become taller today?" The chatterbox A, who had been chattering non-stop, looked at the 2 people walking past him in confusion, and then thought that Xiaoqi might have worn height-increasing shoes today. He was too sensitive. He raised his hand to push the glasses on his nose, retracted his gaze, and went in the direction he wanted to go. Hashtag. "Dr. Nan, I'm sorry. After Yun Jingshan entered the laboratory he quickly let go of his hand and apologized to Nan Yan. No problem. Nan Yan looked normal. Mr. Yun, I need at least an hour and a half to get by without being disturbed by anyone. I hope you can help me get this time. Yun Jingshan's face suddenly became serious. Don't worry. I will do my best. It was about his mother's life, so he didn't dare to take it lightly. After Nan Yan gave him a few instructions, she took the things she had prepared in advance and went into the operating room. She put the suitcase on the laboratory table and carefully took out the things inside one by one. Nan Yan pursed her lips, her expression was extremely solemn. This is the second time to prepare T-2 medicine. Once this bottle of medicine appears, I'm afraid that the M country will immediately notice it. The peaceful days are about to end. But Nan Yan frowned, and a cold and vicious aura slowly flowed in her eyes. Her revenge, her parents' revenge, should be avenged. Hashtag. In the highest laboratory of M country far away in the western continent. Shishkin's eyes revealed a gloomy and cruel look. A bunch of rubbish. What the hell are you handing me with the formula? After so long, there is no progress at all. The president has begun to doubt whether he can develop the T-2 reagent. Shishkin has been in a state of panic for a while, and he can't even sleep well at night. If the president knows that he really doesn't have the ability to develop the T-2 reagent, then all the honors and treatment he enjoys now will be taken back. Even more. Shishkin dare not think about it. If he is charged with deceiving the president, what will happen to him? Shishkin said in a gloomy and irritable voice, even if T-2 can't be developed, you should be able to prepare T-1, right? I'll give you another half a month. Even if you don't eat or drink and die of exhaustion in the laboratory, you have to make T-1 for me. He no longer dares to hope to prepare T-2 directly. It's okay to give him the T-1 reagent first and report to the president. In the silent room, a slightly younger voice rang out, Director, I heard that an heir of the Lawrence family got a T-1 reagent. Are you sure? Shishkin's expression suddenly changed, and he even took a few quick steps and came to the young scientist. T-1 reagent, Nan Yan developed a total of 50 at that time. Because the side effects were too great, Nan Yan felt that this was not a successful research. Then she began to study the advanced version, which is T-2. The original T-1 reagent became out of print, and she never reconfigured it. He remembered that almost all the T-1 reagents that were developed were used in experiments, and the remaining few were also collected by several large laboratories for research. There should be no more outsiders. Moreover, if someone has T-1 reagent, they will never give it to others. So, where did the T-1 reagent in the hands of the young master of the Lawrence family come from? It seems that he has to go and ask in person. And he can't wait even a minute. He has to go now. Drive for half an hour. Shishkin came to the residence of Elvis, the successor of Lawrence. Elvis heard from the butler that Shishkin wanted to see him, so he quickly asked the butler to invite him in. After all, Shishkin suddenly became a favorite of the president after being promoted to the highest laboratory 3 months ago. And his status is extremely high. It is not reasonable to offend him. Shishkin came to Elvis, greeted him briefly, and asked directly. Mr. Lawrence, I want to know where did you get the T-1 reagent in your hand? I got that reagent from a mercenary in the dark domain network. Elvis asked cautiously, Mr. Shishkin, did he steal that potion from you? Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 285. Elvis has always suspected that the fish that loves diving is a thief who stole other people's T-1 reagents. Now that Shishkin came to him, he couldn't help but feel guilty. That's right, Shishkin had a straight face, not embarrassed at all. That medicine is indeed mine, and it was stolen. Mr. Lawrence, I hope you can return the medicine to its original owner. You should also know that those medicines have great side effects and are not recommended for use. But Elvis looked a little embarrassed. That medicine is very important to me. I want to use it to save people. Elvis was actually a little confused. What is the identity of the fish that loves diving? He can actually steal things from the highest laboratory. This ability is too perverted and against the sky. But there is something wrong. The package he received was clearly sent from China. If the fish that loves diving got it from the highest laboratory, why would it take a little more effort to go to China and send him a courier? Is this done to confuse him and confuse the people in the highest laboratory? Elvis was a little confused. Shishkin said with a serious face, "It is very important to recover the stolen medicine. Mr. Lawrence is ignorant, so I will not let the FBI pursue your responsibility. Of course, your loss cannot be compensated. Perhaps, you can find the person who sold you this medicine on the dark domain network. In addition, I also hope that you can reveal the identity of that person, so that I can hand it over to the FBI and let them catch the desperate thief and bring him to justice." Elvis did not dare to offend Shishkin, and did not want to be involved with the FBI, so after hearing what Shishkin said, he had to give the T-1 reagent that Nan Yan gave him to Shishkin. Then he couldn't help but regret it in his heart. Why didn't he use the medicine after getting it? Now not only the medicine is gone, but the money can't be recovered. After regretting, Elvis directed his anger at Nan Yan. He almost offended Shishkin and cheated him of so much money. This account must be settled. At that moment, he told Shishkin about Nan Yan's account of diving fish and showed him the screenshots between them. "Mr. Lawrence, thank you for your cooperation. I will tell the FBI the truth. Sorry for bothering you. Goodbye." Shishkin came out of Elvis's manor with a gloomy look on his face. Nan Yan. That account belongs to Nan Yan. He once saw her dark domain backend page by chance. At that time, Nan Yan had no guard against him and did not cover up at all. She also told him that this was her account on the dark domain. But, isn't she dead? Who got that account? And took out a T-1 reagent. If he hadn't seen Nan Yan die with his own eyes and blew up the laboratory himself, he would have doubted whether Nan Yan was not dead at the beginning. Could it be related to the Nian who appeared recently? Shishkin was a little suspicious. Was it Nan Yan's friend who was investigating her cause of death? This thought made his already irritable and flustered heart even more uneasy. No, he can't just sit there and wait for death, he has to take action first. Hashtag 1 hour and 40 minutes. Nan Yan looked at the reaction in front of her, the medicine glowing with a light blue light, and breathed a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was successful at once. If it failed, she would have to start all over again, which would not only waste time, but also she would not have enough raw materials. She took a tissue and wiped the sweat off her head, and then Nan Yan carefully put the medicine into a special test tube for storage. She did not waste the remaining raw materials, and directly prepared a few improved T-1 medicines. After the improvement, the side effects were reduced and the state was more stable. "Dr. Nan, is it done?" Yoon Jingshan's voice came from the Bluetooth headset. "Well, it's almost done," Nan Yan said lightly, but the movements on her hands were still so steady, not affected at all. Yoon Jingshan breathed a sigh of relief. "That's good, I'll wait for you outside." It was also the first time he violated the rules and brought outsiders into the national laboratory, which was a bit stressful. "I was afraid that something might happen if time went on for too long. Although, generally speaking, no one would disturb him when he was doing experiments. But I was afraid that something might happen. Give me another 10 minutes. Okay." Yoon Jingshan hung up the phone and slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air. Just when he was about to raise his hand to pinch his eyebrows and relax his nerves, he heard someone ringing the doorbell. The somewhat harsh beep sound almost scared his soul out. The nerves that had not yet relaxed collapsed to the extreme. What to do? He turned around anxiously in place, and when he heard that the person knocking on the door outside was still there, he hurried to the operating room inside. "Dr. Nan, someone is coming, go open the door." He couldn't open the door. Because he was a scientific researcher, and Nan Yan was pretending to be Xiao Qi, an assistant. Things like opening the door had to be done by her. Yes, Nan Yan agreed, and then quickly told Yun Jingshan the order and dosage of the ingredients to be added next. After saying that, she looked directly into Yun Jingshan's eyes. "Do you remember?" "I remember." Yun Jingshan felt that he had an inexplicable pressure when facing Nan Yan. She was a little girl who was 20 years younger than him, but her aura was stronger than his mother's. It was really strange. But it was not strange. She was a miracle doctor. Nan Yan glanced at Yun Jingshan, and when she heard the knock on the door, she turned around to open the door. Outside the door was the chatterboxa who had met before, and an old scientist who looked very majestic and was nearly 70 years old. "Why did you take so long to open the door?" Chatterboxa muttered with some complaints. Nan Yan lowered her head slightly, trying to avoid them from seeing the difference between herself and Xiao Qi. Professor Gang Yun's experiment was at a critical point, so the door was opened a little late. Before lowering her head, she glanced at the old man's chest. On the badge, it was written Deputy Director Chen Muchen. Chen Muchen looked at Nan Yan for a few times, and said in a deep voice, "It was you who was doing the experiment just now." The breadth of doing experiments and the breadth of assistance are clearly different. Nan Yan's breath at this time was more like she had just come down from the laboratory table. This is a feeling that cannot be seen with the eyes, but Chen Muchen can detect it. Nan Yan was not panicked when she was found doing experiments. She explained calmly, "Well, Professor Yun said that this experiment is relatively simple, so he asked me to learn how to do it." Chatterboxa laughed and said, "Xiao Qi has made rapid progress. She can do experiments so quickly." Chen Muchen frowned slightly, staring at Nan Yan's slightly drooping face, and suddenly said, "You are not Xiao Qi. Raise your head and take off your mask and face shield. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss." Author, Junanan. Chapter 286. At Chen Muchen's request, Nanyan could only take off the mask and mask. Identity exposed. "Who are you?" Chen Muchen looked at her sternly, his eyes burning brightly. "Hello, Deputy Director Chen, I am Nan Yan." Nan Yan spoke calmly and introduced herself to him. Chatterboxa on the side looked at Nan Yan several times with wide eyes, and then murmured to himself, "It turns out I was not wrong before." He felt that something was wrong with Xiaoqi's sudden increase in height. "Why are you here? Does Yun Jingshan know your true identity? You'd better tell your purpose and motives clearly. Otherwise, what awaits you will be the most severe torture." Chen Muchen's tone became more and more severe, almost as if he could see through Nan Yan. "Can you give me another 5 minutes?" Nan Yan looked calm, showing no signs of panic or confusion at being caught. "My experiment is still in the final steps. After it is completed, I will fully cooperate with your various inquiries." Yun Jingshan, who was continuing to conduct experiments on Nan Yan inside, had already become anxious when he heard the movement outside. But the experiment at hand cannot be interrupted. The raw materials used to prepare the medicine are too precious. If they are wasted, that will be the biggest loss. Although he violated the rules of the laboratory by bringing outsiders into the laboratory, he did so to save his mother. It will be made clear when the time comes. At most, they will be punished one by one, and there will not be too serious punishment. Hearing Nan Yan's words, he quickly shouted outside, "Deputy Director Chen, I am also responsible for this matter. I asked Dr. Nan to help. Please, give us 5 more minutes." Chen Muchen's majestic and sharp eyes examined Nan Yan. Nan Yan was calm. After a while, Chen Muchen said, "You go do the experiment first. After you complete the experiment, immediately follow me to accept the investigation." "Thanks." Nan Yan nodded slightly and then returned to the operating room. "Mr. Yun, let me continue. You go and explain to Deputy Director Chen first." "Okay," Yun Jingshan said with a serious expression, "Don't worry, Dr. Nan, I won't let anything happen to you." Nan Yan took a test tube from his hand, glanced at the things on the operating table, and then looked at the status of the reaction solution to know which step it had reached. 5 minutes later, Nanyan packed the prepared medicinal solution into special test tubes and carefully put them together with the previous T-2 reagent. After thinking about it, she took out a T-1 reagent and planned to hand it to Deputy Director Chen later. She will not give the T-2 potion to anyone for the time being. As for the T-1, she can still give it to the National Laboratory and let them analyze the ingredients. Hashtag. Coming out of the laboratory, Nan Yan and Yun Jingshan were taken to Chen Muchen's office. "Do you think she can save Professor Yun?" Chen Muchen had a look of disbelief as if he had just heard some fantasy. Professor Yun Lao's cancer was in the late stage and had spread throughout her body. Even the experts from the highest hospital in the imperial capital concluded that her body could no longer be cured. Nan Yan corrected, "It's not a cure. It can extend Professor Yun's life by 3 years and relieve her pain, so that she can live a more relaxed life in her later years." "Deputy Director Chen, do you know Tao Qingming?" "Mr. Tao, the president of the Traditional Chinese Medicine Association." "It's him. Maybe you don't believe me, so just let Mr. Tao explain my identity to you." Nan Yan knew that her age was too deceptive, and it was impossible for normal people to believe that she had these abilities. It's better to bring in qualified people to help her explain. Chen Muchen looked serious, then took out his mobile phone, found Tao Qingming's number in the contacts, and dialed it. "Old Chen? Why do you have time to call me?" Tao Qingming's voice was filled with doubts, but then he said clearly, "Did you see little friend Nan?" Chen Muchen's eyes fell on Nan Yan. "Well, Yun Jingshan took her and secretly ran to the National Laboratory to do experiments, but I discovered it. Mr. Yun is recuperating at your place now. How is she doing?" After Tao Qingming received Chen Muchen's call, he guessed why Chen Muchen was looking for him. He smiled and said, "Haha, you have to ask Nan Xiao about Mr. Yun's condition. Xiao Nan is her attending doctor, and she is solely responsible for Mr. Yun's treatment. Then what she said is true. Can it extend Yun Lao's life for 3 years and relieve her pain? Old Chen, let me tell you, don't look at Xiao Nan because she is young, but her medical skills have long been superior to mine. She even saved the life of the Cheng family member." Tao Qingming paused and said in a very trusting tone, "Since she said it's okay, then it's absolutely okay. Also, Lao Cheng, Xiao Nan borrowed the laboratory from Jingshan just to satisfy Professor Yun. I know you have a system that does not allow outsiders to enter the laboratory, but for the sake of Professor Yun and me, don't be embarrassed. After all, she is not doing it for her own selfish gain, but also to save Professor Yun." Tao Qingming's words made Chen Muchen look at Nan Yan a little more complicated. "I'll think about it carefully, Mr. Tao, let's do this first, I'll hang up." After hanging up the phone, Yun Jingshan spoke directly, "Deputy Director Chen, if you want to be held accountable, just hold me accountable. It was me who begged Dr. Nan to save my mother, and that's why she came here. She was not at fault, it was all my fault. Jingshan, please be quiet first. I have something to ask Miss Nan." Chen Muchen's tone was serious, Miss Nan, I need to know the medicine you prepared in the laboratory. I believe it is to save Professor Yun, but these are rules and regulations. I need to go back and make a record. Deputy Director Chen, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. Nan Yan took out the bottle of T-1 medicine left alone in his bag and handed it to him. That is the only medicine that can save Professor Yun. It is also a medicine that has not been announced in the world, so it cannot be disclosed. I will keep this bottle of medicine in the National Laboratory for your research. It will be regarded as my reward for occupying the laboratory. Chen Muchen took it, turned it around in his hand, frowned and asked, "This is it?" Nan Yan said calmly, T-1. Chen Muchen and Yun Jingshan were stunned at the same time. The current T-1 has been improved to reduce side effects. As long as you can analyze the formula, it can be directly put into mass production. This is what she has always wanted to do after improving the T-1 reagent. The T-2 is put into mass production, which is currently not possible. Not only is the raw material too precious, but also because the ownership of T-2 is now in the hands of Shishkin. Only after she exposes Shishkin and gets back the honor that is rightfully hers can she legitimately use the T-2 formula to benefit society. The sensitivity of T-1 is not that high. Even if it is exposed now, Country M will not take it too seriously. Miss Nan, are you kidding? Yun Jingshan personally helped Nan Yan do several steps of experiments. Only now did he know that he was actually involved in configuring T-1. Nan Yan raised her eyebrows and smiled arrogantly, I never joke. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 287. In fact, after knowing Nan Yan's identity and listening to Tao Qingming's words, Chen Muchen had planned to turn a blind eye to this matter. He would ask Nan Yan again, and also wanted to find out her strength and recruit her to the national laboratory. As a result, he got such an unexpected surprise. When Nan Yan's team developed the T-1 reagent, it had caused a sensation in the world medical community. The second time was 3 months ago, when Shishkin took Nan Yan's new results and won the highest honor in the medical community in one fell swoop, which shocked the world again. After knowing that the M country had developed genetic drugs such as T-1 and T-2, the Chinese laboratory also rushed to study them. They didn't want China to fall behind in this regard. But now, the T-1 drug that they had been studying for so long without any clues was placed in front of them. This was indeed shocking enough. Now I completely believe that you can save Professor Yun. Chen Muchen suddenly stood up straight, and then bowed to Nan Yan at a 90-degree angle. Miss Nan, thank you. This thank you is not only for Nan Yan's willingness to save Professor Yun, but also for her sending this T-1 reagent. Although she only gave the finished product and not the formula, it was enough. Deputy Director Chen, you don't have to do this. Nan Yan stood up and helped him up. This is what I should do as a Chinese. I will report these truthfully and apply for an additional ID card for you. Next time, Miss Nan, you don't have to use someone else's identity when you want to use the laboratory. This is to use privileges. It's not so easy to get an ID card for a national laboratory. Even an assistant needs to go through layers of strict selection before being selected. Chen Muchen's words touched Nan Yan. Although, I know that the other party is attracted by her strength. But it's not easy for him to make such a decision when they first met. Okay. Nan Yan didn't refuse. She will definitely need to use the laboratory in the future. And the goal of buying it herself is still a long way off. Now there is a ready-made one, and the equipment inside is all of the world's highest level. How could she refuse it? Hashtag. Coming out of the laboratory, Yun Jingshan looked at Nan Yan's expression, and she had not yet recovered from her shock. Walking to the car sent by the Qin family, Nan Yan turned to Yun Jingshan and said, Mr. Yun, I will stay in the capital for 1 day. If you are in a hurry to return to Jinqing, you can leave early. I'm not in a hurry. Yun Jingshan shook his head quickly. I'll wait until tomorrow to return to Jinqing with Dr. Nan. At the hospital, with Tao Lao there, he didn't have to worry about his mother. Moreover, he knew that Deputy Director Chen would definitely look for him in a while. Ask about Nan Yan. Okay, I'll contact you when I leave tomorrow. Yun Jingshan nodded. Okay, if there is anything else, you can also contact me. After saying goodbye to Yun Jingshan, Nan Yan got on the Qin family's car and returned to the Qin family. There was no way, Mrs. Qin was too enthusiastic, and asked her to stay here for one more day and leave tomorrow. She couldn't refuse the kindness, so she had to agree. As soon as she got in the car, her mobile phone rang, and a message came in. Qin Lu, are you done? Nan Yan, just came out of the laboratory, ready to go back to your home. Brother Qin came back with her this time. However, after he came back, he didn't even enter the gate of the Qin family manor, but went directly to the company. He has been supervising in Jinqing for the past few months. Although his brother and 3 vice presidents help manage the company's affairs, some things still have to be handled by him personally. Nan Yan, when will you finish your work? Are you free to come back for dinner in the evening? Generally speaking, it is normal for Boss Qin to work overtime all night on the first day after returning to the company. So, although Nan Yan asked this, she had actually guessed his answer. Sure enough, the next second, she saw Qin Lu's answer, no, it would be early for my brother to go back at 12 this year. Nan Yan, oh, thank you for your hard work, brother, work hard. Qin Lu looked at the perfunctory words sent back by Nan Yan on the screen, and a faint smile appeared in his eyes. Little girl, it seems that she doesn't feel sorry for him at all. He raised his lips and typed slowly on the keyboard, if Yan is free, come to the company in the afternoon and bring dinner to brother. The little girl didn't have this awareness, so he had to hold on tighter. Teach her well how to care for others, how to care for him. Teach your own girlfriend yourself. This feeling is also pretty good. Nan Yan licked her lips, and really felt that this man was a little too clingy to her. She didn't believe that he was in the company and no one arranged dinner for him. However, since he said it, she had to agree reluctantly. Nan Yan, okay. Qin Lu, be good, brother is waiting for you in the office. Nan Yan. Back to the old house, Nan Yan opened her notebook. She logged into the dark domain network. As soon as she went online, the dialog box in the chat area kept flashing. After clicking it, Elvis's greetings popped up in a series. Asshole, you actually went to the highest laboratory to steal drugs, are you crazy? If you are crazy, can you please not drag me into the water, I will be hurt by you, do you know? I tell you, you are finished. Mr. Shishkin already knows that you stole drugs from the top laboratory. He will ask the FBI to investigate you. You can't escape. If you still have a little bit of brains, turn yourself in as soon as possible and ask for leniency. Asshole, give me my money back. Also, I have told Mr. Shishkin your account number. When you log into your account, you will be monitored by the FBI. You should take care of yourself. Looking at the message on the screen, Nan Yan narrowed her eyes. Shishkin actually found out about Elvis so quickly, and through him, found out about her existence. Shishkin knew about her account. At first, she did not regard Shishkin as an outsider. In her eyes, he was like a master and a father. Except for some of her identities that she was told not to tell outsiders, he knew all her other identities. Although the account of Fish Who Loves Diving is just an ordinary member. But it is impossible for outsiders to monitor this account. Even if the FBI takes action, don't think of finding out her current identity and location. At most, they can find out that she is in China. For the time being, she is still safe. Nan Yan lowered her eyes, was silent for a moment, took out her mobile phone, and knocked on Bai Chen. Bai Chen. Bai Chen, Xiao Yanyan, what's wrong? Nan Yan, I'm in some trouble, I need your help. Bai Chen, speak. Nan Yan, the FBI may cause trouble for me, help me attract some firepower. Bai Chen, if the FBI wants to cause trouble for you, they must find you first, don't say you are exposed. Nan Yan, not yet, I don't want to have any more trouble now. Bai Chen, okay, leave it to me. Nan Yan, didn't you say you were going to come to China, when are you coming? Bai Chen, what, miss me? Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 288. Nan Yan looked at Bai Chen's incoherent words, twitched the corners of his lips, and replied slowly, yeah, I haven't seen you for so many years, I miss you. Bai Chen, I just think you are serious and talking nonsense. If she missed them, she wouldn't have disappeared silently for so many years. They are not allowed to go find her yet. If Li Yuan hadn't repeatedly said that she wouldn't really abandon them, he would have probably gone to find out her whereabouts. Nan Yan, these days, no one believes the truth, alas. Bai Chen, heh. The chat between the two ended with Bai Chen's word ha. Just in time, Qin Shia came to find her, and Nan Yan exited the chat page and closed the notebook. Yan Yan, I heard Grandma say that you are a Chinese medicine doctor. Qin Shia looked at Nan Yan with bright eyes. Yeah, Nan Yan nodded, I learned some medical skills from an old man. Qin Shia stretched out her wrist directly in front of Nan Yan, please feel my pulse and see if there is anything wrong with my body. Nan Yan looked at her fawning smile and had no choice but to help her feel her pulse. How is it, how is it? Am I in good health? Seeing Nan Yan's serious expression, Qin Shia's nerves became tense. Gong Han, my aunt always feels unbearable pain every time she comes. She suffers from heavy weight, mild anemia, and hypoglycemia. Qin Shia. God. Is Yanyan really that amazing? Everything mentioned here is correct for her symptoms. She actually turns into a worm at certain specific times. The rest of the time, she is lively and healthy. She went to the hospital for a checkup, and it was said that it was due to her natural constitution. She was told to pay attention to eating less raw and cold food and touching less cold water. But the doctor said that there was no way to treat her condition. She could only pay attention to herself and drink more hot water during her menstrual period to keep her abdomen warm. Therefore, she spends those few days of each month directly in bed, next to the warm baby and holding the hot water bottle. Yanyan, can it be cured? Qin Shia asked cautiously. Even if Nan Yan said it couldn't be cured, what would she say and how would she comfort her? Result. Of course it can be cured. Nan Yan took out his mobile phone and typed a series of names of traditional Chinese medicines on it, as well as the number of grams, and then sent it to Qin Shia. Follow this recipe to get the medicine, and if you drink it for a month, you will basically be cured. It can improve your symptoms. Qin Shia. Qin Shia looked at the name of the medicinal materials that took up a whole page with some confusion, and then asked bitterly, that Yanyan, is the Chinese medicine very bitter? I watched a TV show, and the Chinese medicines shown on it were all dark brown, and they were more bitter than Coptis chinensis. I can't drink it? Afraid of hardship? Yeah, Qin Shia nodded quickly and vigorously to show how afraid of hardship she was. Nan Yan said calmly, then you wait a few more days and I will make a pill for you. Take it with warm water and it will not be painful. Yeah, thank you Yanyan. Qin Shia smiled like a flower and took Nan Yan's arm affectionately. Yanyan, I recognize you as a sister-in-law. Whoever dares to pry you off will be the one I'm in trouble with. Nan Yan. She hadn't even written her horoscope yet, so it was too early for her to call her sister-in-law. As a person who was 2 years older than Nan Yan, Qin Shia didn't feel the least bit embarrassed. Anyway, eldest brother's girlfriend will definitely be called eldest sister-in-law from now on. Besides, Nan Yan looks really mature, not like an 18-year-old girl at all. She has such a strong aura and is so powerful. As we got along more during this period, when she faced her, she felt inexplicably like facing her elder brother. Mrs. Jean and Molly were drinking beauty tea and watching TV in the living room. Seeing Nan Yan coming down, he smiled and waved her over to watch together. Nan Yan sat next to Mrs. Jean and said, "Mom Lee, ask the kitchen to prepare an extra portion for dinner. If my brother wants to eat the food at home, I will bring it to him." With a smile on her face, Molly quickly responded, "Hey, okay, I'll go tell the kitchen right now." Mrs. Jean put Nan Yan's hand in her palm and said kindly, "In 1 year, Yan will be admitted to Tiandu University, so can she come and live at home?" Mrs. Jean had told her about this matter several times. Considering the old man's mood, she didn't always refuse. Besides, there's still a year left, so it's not certain what will happen by then. When Mrs. Jean heard Nan Yan's promise, she smiled from ear to ear. Soon it was time for dinner. Nan Yan did not eat at home, but directly packed dinner for 2 people, took it to the company, and ate with Qin Lu. Otherwise, she would go over and watch him eat. Thinking about the scene, it would be better to eat together. Hashtag Qin Chabel's office building. Nan Yan got out of the car with her lunchbox, and then sent a message to Qin Lu to tell him that she had arrived. In the conference room, Qin Lu saw the screen of his mobile phone on the table light up, and a message popped up, and his eyes instantly became a little gentler. "The meeting is suspended. Continue in an hour." After leaving a few words, Qin Lu stood up directly and left the conference room, leaving a group of company executives looking at each other. After all, President Qin's meeting is well known as a sure venue. Every meeting can make these people feel frightened and on the verge of collapse. It is common for a meeting to last from morning to afternoon, or from afternoon to evening. So every time President Qin is here, they have to prepare to go hungry in advance, and also prepare quick-acting hard pills. What happened today? At this moment, a group of executives began to discuss. "Hey, did you notice that President Qin's back looked a little hurried? It seems that President Qin's mobile phone lit up, and President Qin suspended the meeting. Is there any important person who came to the company to find President Qin?" An executive who was closer to Qin Lu had sharp eyes, but he only saw the screen light up, but did not see the content inside. Some smarter ones have already asked Wu Yu. "Assistant Wu, is President Qin about to have good news?" Wu Yu looked mysterious. "I dare not say anything about this." He didn't say anything, but his expression clearly told them that there was indeed something going on. At this moment, this group of executives finally felt a sense of relief. It's really not easy for an iron tree to bloom. I hope that Mr. Qin will be able to focus more on his girlfriend when he has one. This way, they can relax a little bit, right? Hashtag The reception hall downstairs. Nan Yan leaned against the wall of the VIP area leisurely, waiting for news from Qin Lu. The receptionist at the front desk kept her eyes on her after seeing her come in. She thought Nan Yan was another woman who knew that Mr. Qin was back and deliberately came to show her courtesy. He left Nan Yan standing there motionless, frowned slightly, and asked, "Miss, who are you looking for? Do you have an appointment?" You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 289. Nan Yan raised her eyebrows slightly and said leisurely, "I'm looking for your Mr. Qin. Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I just sent him a message. He will be down soon." When the lady at the front desk heard what Nan Yan said, She was thinking that it was indeed another woman who wanted to come and see if she could meet Mr. Qin. But to be honest, the person in front of her was definitely the best looking person she had ever seen. Before she could finish this thought, she heard Nan Yan's words behind her. Send a message to Mr. Qin? Will Mr. Qin be down soon? What a joke. She has worked at Qin's for 2 years and has not seen Mr. Qin contact any woman. Mr. Qin doesn't even have a female secretary. Although the guest felt that she had guessed Nan Yan's thoughts, as a qualified guest who had gone through rigorous assessments, would act in accordance with the rules and regulations in all aspects, and would not show any personal emotions, she still politely advised. Mr. Qin is very busy. He has been in meetings today and may not have time. How about you go back first? Nan Yan looked at Yingbin and couldn't help teasing her. If I leave, your boss Qin will be angry, and then he turns his anger on you, and you will be fired. You. The welcoming lady did not expect that Nan Yan would be so ignorant of her kind words and even threaten her in return. Angry emotions kept tumbling in her heart. It took her a few seconds to suppress her temper and prevent herself from saying inappropriate words. Miss, you can wait if you want. Without Mr. Qin's words, even if you wait here until dark, I can't let you in. Aren't you willing to wait? She just waits here eagerly. If Mr. Qin doesn't come when the time comes, who can't step down? The receptionist frowned slightly, pursed his lips, and looked like he didn't want to deal with Nan Yan anymore. Nan Yan curled her lips and smiled, then took out a lollipop from her coat pocket and placed it on the counter. Don't be angry, I'll treat you to some candy. Welcome lady. Be sick. He actually gave her a lollipop. Is she saying she's like a child? The faces of the guests were blushing, their cheeks were bulging, and their expressions were very lively. Ding. The exclusive elevator reaches the first floor and opens the door slowly. Qin Lu got out of the elevator and looked around the hall first. When he saw Nan Yan, he immediately strode towards her. Welcome. Is everything this lady said true? She really contacted Mr. Qin, and Mr. Qin actually came to pick her up in person. She quickly recalled whether she had offended Nan Yan before. Will she be fired because of something she said that was wrong? Nan Yan raised the food box she was carrying and raised her eyebrows. I didn't even eat dinner, so I came here to eat with you. Isn't that considerate enough? Qin Lu's eyes were full of doting. He raised his hand and rubbed the top of her head, curved his lips and smiled softly. Well, that's very considerate. Yingbin's eyes widened suddenly. Did she read it wrong? Mr. Qin's smile just now. Damn it, you are so pampering. When the straight man Mr. Qin talks about love, who can resist it? Nan Yan glanced at him speechlessly. With this action, he dares to say that he treats her as his girlfriend? Go to eat. Qin Lu took the food box, held Nan Yan's hand, and entered his exclusive elevator. The receptionist quickly vented her shock and excitement in their work group. Mr. Qin has a girlfriend, real. The future young lady is so beautiful, and she is a perfect match for Mr. Qin. I swear, I have never seen Mr. Qin doting on anyone so much. He is like the hero and heroine in an idol TV series. The two of them are making sweet bubbles when they stand together. Real. Are there any candid photos? I want to see what our future young lady looks like. I think if I run to the stairs and pretend to be passing by, I should see Mr. Qin and the young lady coming out, right? Are you brave enough to pretend we met by chance? I am walking with you in spirit. Come on, remember to take a photo. Remember to post in the group when the time comes. Let us pay our respects together. Hashtag. Qin Lu didn't know how much of a shock he had caused to the employees in the company by personally bringing Nan Yan to the office. But even if he knew, he didn't bother to deal with it. The little girl is so considerate, bringing him food and eating with him. He is in a happy mood. Why does he care about others? After entering the office, Before Nan Yan could react, a wall of people suddenly appeared in front of him. Qin Lu put his hand on the door panel, looked down at her, and coaxed in a low and hoarse voice. "Yan Yan, my brother has been missing you all day. Why don't you give me a hug?" Nan Yan's whole body was enveloped in his breath, and his breath was filled with the pleasant cold fragrance of his body. The voice in his ear was magnetic and teasing, slowly approaching him as if he was being bewitched. Her little hands wrapped around his waist, hugged him, and then quickly let go. He raised his eyes and said expressionlessly, "The hug is over." Clingy. Ever since he revealed his true nature and his intentions towards her, he has become more and more clingy. Qin Lu didn't even have time to feel the hug, he broke away at the touch and smiled helplessly. He lowered his head and whispered in Nan Yan's ear, "Kid, what I said was that I wanted to give you a hug." As soon as the words fell, Nan Yan was pulled into a hug. Nan Yan stood obediently and let him hold her. Well, someone is quite honest. It was just a simple hug, without any other small movements. After hugging her for about a minute, Qin Lu let her go. "Come and eat." The lunch box was placed on the desk, and Qin Lu sorted out the documents on it first. Nan Yan opened the lunch box and took out the food inside. The food prepared for them in the kitchen was very rich, with 3 dishes and 1 soup, and the combination of meat and vegetables was very good, which looked appetizing. It was the first time to eat together in the office. Nan Yan felt that the experience was okay. The main thing was that looking at Qin Lu's abstinent and beautiful face would make her appetite better. Qin Lu took a few bites and asked, "How do you feel about going to the National Laboratory today?" Nan Yan took a sip of soup, raised her eyes and said lightly, "Not bad. The equipment is much more advanced than the laboratory of the third brother's family. Only the equipment is required. Well, there is nothing else. The environment of the laboratory is similar. The difference is in the hardware equipment. Nan Yan's dream is to have a laboratory of her own. Moreover, her laboratory must have the most advanced equipment. It doesn't have to be too big. Anyway, she doesn't plan to develop it into a research institute, and she doesn't want too many people. Just meet her needs." Qin Lu asked again, "Where do you want to build it?" Nan Yan put down her cutlery and looked directly at him. "You want to build a laboratory for me?" Qin Lu said as a matter of course, "Who makes you like it?" Nan Yan held her forehead, "Buy a ready-made one and update the equipment inside. It doesn't need to be so troublesome. Yan Yan's affairs are never a trouble for my brother. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss." Author, Junanan. Chapter 290. Nan Yan was moved unexpectedly. If a man said love words, she might be dismissive. However, Qin Lu's words were not just to make her happy. If he could say it, he could do it. After a pause, suppressing her restless heartbeat, Nan Yan supported her head with one hand, and asked with a smile, "Brother, aren't you afraid of spoiling me?" Qin Lu glanced at her tenderly, with a faint arc at the end of his eyes, and asked with a full of evil spirit, "Then why don't you teach your brother how to spoil you? If she spoils you, she won't be afraid that she will be taken away by other little wolves. What a good thing." Nan Yan asked herself that she was no match for Qin Lu in teasing, and rolled her eyes at him in an ungraceful way, lowered her head and continued to eat. Qin Lu didn't continue to tease her, chuckled, and picked up the tableware elegantly. It took 40 minutes to finish the meal. He gave the executives an hour to solve their physiological needs, and he had to go to the meeting in another 20 minutes. Watching the girl skillfully put the plates and bowls into the lunch box, Qin Lu poured 2 cups of tea and asked, "Do you want to play here for a while, or go back?" Nan Yan thought for a while, "Let's play here for a while. If she goes back, she will be dragged by old lady Qin to talk about her ideal life. Although she may seem a little heartless if she tells the truth, she is really a little annoyed. These days, old lady Qin lives in the old house of the An family. Every day when she comes home from school, she grabs her and nags her endlessly. Her temper is still good. Even if she is irritated, she will not show it on the surface. If it were someone else, I'm afraid they would not be able to stand the nagging of the old lady. Well, play with the things in the office as you like. If you want to go home, tell me and I will let Wu Yu take you. Brother, you reminded me. Nan Yan quickly took out her mobile phone and told the driver of the Qin family who was still waiting for her outside, asking him to go back first. After drinking a cup of tea, Qin Lu returned to the meeting room. As soon as he went out, Qin Lu found that there were several people outside the office looking at this side furtively. However, after seeing him, they immediately ran away, pretending to be passing by and pretending to be quite convincing. Qin Lu did not care about these people's performance. After all, when he asked Nan Yan to come to the company to bring him food, he thought of such a result. It can be said that Qin De Lao did it on purpose. After all, there was not even a woman around him, and Wu Yu was always busy in front of him. The rumors outside not only spread that he was gay, but also said that he and Wu Yu were a couple. Although Qin De Lao sneered at such groundless rumors, he was also very unhappy to be misunderstood like this and why about him and Wu Yu. Now with Nan Yan, the rumors will be broken. Back to the meeting room, Wu Yu immediately came over and asked, "Master, has Miss Nan gone back?" No. Qin Lu glanced at him lightly. Yan Yan is playing in the office. When she wants to go back later, you can send her back. Wu Yu immediately stood up straight. Got it? Hashtag. Nan Yan actually just wanted to find a place to kill time. Seeing his computer, she remembered that she had something to check, so she sat directly on his boss chair. There was a password on the computer, so she sent a message and asked him directly, "Brother, what is the password of the computer? I want to play on the computer for a while." In the conference room, Qin Lu was about to continue the previous meeting. The screen of the mobile phone on the table lit up. The voice came to his lips, but was swallowed back. He picked up the phone and saw the message from Nan Yan, and his eyes overflowed with a doting look. The executives in the conference room were already sitting upright, and their eyes all looked at Qin De Lao who was sitting in the main seat. As a result, they just happened to see the doting smile of their own president. Damn! When President Qin smiled, it was too sweet. It seems that President Qin is really about to have good things. This scene made everyone who had been suspicious of Qin Lu's girlfriend confirm the news in their hearts. It seems that Assistant Wu knows the inside story. After the meeting, they must ask Assistant Wu carefully, so as not to offend the future young lady by accident. Qin Lu ignored the complaints and psychological activities of the people in the conference room, clicked on the message sent by Nan Yan, and entered 6 numbers. Then he added a sentence, "Play as you like." Nan Yan got the computer password and did not forget to reply "Thank you, brother," then threw the phone aside, unlocked the computer, and clicked on the web page. Qin Lu's computer has a memory function, and will directly display the pages he has used frequently during this period after opening the web page. So when Nan Yan clicked in, she saw that they were all checking her messages. Not her current self, but her original self. Nan Yan's expression was slightly solemn. She was not worried that Qin Lu would hurt her. Even if it was her original identity, she seemed to have no intersection with Qin Lu in her memory. But why did he check her? When she was in Country M, all her honors in the laboratory were taken by Shishkin. Other identities, although famous, most of them have too many enemies, and a group of people are waiting to kill her. So which one is Qin Lu? Hostile to her, or simply interested? Nan Yan's eyes darkened slightly. She looked at the page for a long time, lowered her eyes, and then closed those pages, and calmly looked up what she wanted to find. Hashtag. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Nan Yan was a little bored and didn't want to stay in Qin Lu's office any longer. After turning off the computer, she sent a message to Qin Lu, planning to go out and walk around casually. She hasn't had a good walk in the imperial capital for so long. While she has time today, she might as well appreciate the cultural heritage of the imperial capital. Qin Lu quickly sent a message, "Going home, I'll let Wu Yu take you." Nan Yan, "No, I want to go around." Qin Lu insisted, "Let Wu Yu be your driver, just tell him where you want to go." Nan Yan, "Okay." After the exchange, Nan Yan tidied up his desk and walked out of the office with the lunchbox. Wu Yu happened to be closing the door of the conference room, and then strode towards her. "Miss Nan, I'll carry it, I'll carry it." Wu Yu was very perceptive and quickly took the lunchbox from her hand, with a flattering smile, which was brighter than when he was in front of Qin Lu. Nan Yan handed him the lunchbox and asked calmly, "What time does your brother's meeting plan to end today?" "Well, it will probably be around 11 or 12. Wu Yu racked his brains to improve his young master's favorability in front of Nan Yan. The young master has been in Jinqing for a while, so he has accumulated a lot of things. Take advantage of staying in the imperial capital for these 2 days to solve all of them. Usually the company is not busy so late, and everyone goes to get off work on time. Miss Nan, you don't know how self-disciplined a young master is. There is no woman around him. Did you see that the secretaries in the office are all men, not a single woman? Is he sexist? Absolutely not." Wu Yu's heart trembled. If this hat is put on the young master, then he is guilty. The young master, actually because of psychological reasons, he couldn't get in touch with women. Since you, Miss Nan, appeared, his symptoms have disappeared.